So it was a little loud outside, wasn't it? And I say, since we're in a place of worship, a place for all, that it maybe was God clapping along with all of us. Because she is kind of cool, isn't she? God is. Graduates, I got a question for you, and this is the way I want to start. Who's going to eat that box? I'm sorry, who's going to eat that box? All right. We'll explain it all later. Family and friends as well. Graduates, Madam Chair, Mr. President, Board of Trustees, faculty and administration, how great is this? How great is this day? How good do we feel? Family and friends, all of you back there must have the most energy and the most pride, am I right? I've been wrong before, just get them out of the house. Congratulations all, and thank you, Board of Trustees, Mr. President, Madam Chair. Thank you for this honorary doctorate. It is my first ever in my commencement messages. I'm very honored. I do not take this lightly. And do not worry, you won't see this on the bottom of the TV screen on MSNBC. Richard Louis, Dr. News. You won't see Dr. Louis, the antidote to fake news, either on my name banner. I'm not going to do that because I understand, I do, this great honor with this great institution of century and a half of history here. So thank you again, Board of Trustees, for this fantastic honor today. So let's start with the words of one of our great influential living philosophers in his final poem to the class of 2017, Chow Tao Tong. Another question you have to ask the graduates. Chow writes this: in just a few weeks' time, we'll look inside our box. An expensive sheet of paper will say, congrats, you're now all docs. ICO prepared us for greatness. Our future is so thrilling. I can't wait for the boat cruise with us all, most just chillin'. By the way, graduates, how was the boat cruise? Was it chillin'? Yeah? 155 of you? 4 years together? My word, I was thinking 4 years together. You really know each other. And such a tight group at the hip, right? For over 1,000 days. Can anybody imagine spending that amount of time together? What a family you are. And I know you all believe that. Because when you walk out today, this weekend, you're going to think, oh, those great friendships that I had made over the years. Greater than most graduate experiences that anybody can have. Then together you were, no doubt, your last night at Joe's, right? Was that good? Yeah? That was good? Lunches and dinners in the last couple of days. Life could not be better as you all hang out together. And top it off today, you graduate. You don't want it to end. I got some bad news, though. Your parents and family who are here, they want more. You probably already heard it. You know, in a couple of days, the glow, it fades away. It's back to the question. When are you going to get married? The M word, you know what I mean? It makes you crook your head a little to the side. You're kind of stroking your hair when they ask that question. You blink in strange ways, a little nervous maybe. You might even pee a little. All these things could happen. And then what you do is you try to deflect. We all do that. You start to declare you've been busy with surface power and effective power and Prentice's rule, right? You're just saying anything. And it works for about 2 minutes. But not to worry, because I've done my research. You at ICO are exceptional not only in optometry, but also in matchmaking, evidently. Just look at the Day in the Life ICO YouTube series. I admit, I binge watch that. It's what we do nowadays. And for family and friends sitting in the back, that video series, which you will now feverishly Google, is a series that follows the life of student Hannah Hayes from move-in day number 1, to her final months at ICO. And it is very well done. Hannah, you see, will be studying, stressed about boards, She even talks about graduating at the top of the class and how she really wants to do that. But still, despite all that feverishness, she is somehow able to do this. She finds her soulmate at ICO and ended up marrying him. I Google stalked her. Many of you also have already met your significant other while you were here, in the first year maybe, last month, or maybe even since I started talking. I don't know. It's all possible. It's that good here at ICO, I believe. In fact, I think we all can just forget Tinder and Match.com. ICO.edu. The leading optometric dating site for singles. We bring the best together, helping people see eye to eye. My only pun for the next 10 minutes, don't worry. ICO.edu, you didn't know it, but it's been working in so many ways for so many years. And of course, there are the great alumni of this institution who started Pearl Vision, became nationally elected leaders, or even invented sliced bread, I kid you not. But I'm also talking about two great alumni who met here and then later married that I got to meet. Christy Marcheski, 04, and Jeff Frank, 03. These two doctors met here at ICO and told me they benefited from strong support from their training at this great college. They wondered when it would be their turn to give something back. And then it happened. 2 years ago, they started a not-for-profit to help save lives of hundreds of children who suddenly die each year for unknown reasons. Jeff Frank told me ICO gave them a foundation of healthcare research, can-do culture, and caring for others. Caring for others. With the headlines I have had to read in recent times, that reminded me, I've wondered, are we getting better or worse at caring? And how does that translate to what we do day to day? The simple things that we do, or even the bigger things, to take our turn and step up like Christy and Jeff. For me, it started years ago. During my summers in Los Angeles, each arrival being met by my grandfather's wrinkly finger pointing to a flyer on the wall. It was printed in 1943. He framed it when he put it up there. 200 ships for liberty, that flyer read. Can't forget it because he would never let me. Grandpa worked at the Los Angeles shipyards, building what's known as the Liberty ships, the ones that fueled D-Day and so many World War II victories. Although it was almost 50 years ago, his eyes said it was yesterday. He said, "Look, Richard, I built that." Almost 50 years ago, Grandpa also showed the same joy with his 8-year-old daughter at the time, my mom. On the shipyard's family day, he brought her in. He showed a very young Rose Louis how he transformed raw steel, the size of almost this stage that I stand on now, into the single 4-inch gun turret that sits on each Liberty ship's bow, the only gun on the entire ship. Grandpa worked long hours for his immigrant family. Military service shaped him. At each dinner, for instance, we had chopsticks, plates, and bowls. They were all set on the table. And then we'd bow our head to give grace. And that's when Grandpa did something really interesting. He would turn around and he would grab this hidden fork that was right behind him. Turn around. Amen. Heads up. Grandma scowled at him. He'd done it again. The chopsticks magically pushed to the side, replaced by a fork. America was Grandpa's new home. Following in his footsteps, 3 of his sons enlisted in the U.S. Armed Forces. Their pictures in military uniform displayed on the living room mantel. You couldn't miss it when you walked in. And while her brothers were away, my mom made up the difference. She worked more. She increased her hours at the store to 12-hour shifts. She cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the family, too. Her college study time, that now started at midnight, every night. Today, my mom is no less dogged, every day caring for her husband, my father now, who has Alzheimer's. And my mom a career public servant, has taken on a new unplanned career in her young 80s, a new title called family caregiver, and a full-time job that requires 100 hours of overtime each week, 0 vacations, 0 salary. And the statistics show that so tough is her new job, it is more likely that she will die before her sick spouse. Not too different, Jason and Alexis Cornine, another couple I interviewed recently. Young Alexis was on duty in the U.S. Armed Forces. A crane got loose. It struck her in the head. She suffered spinal cord and head injuries. Walking, seeing, and talking became a struggle for her. And that's where Jason stood up. Young husband. He became a military caregiver. He is a hidden hero in his 20s and 30s with a half century or more of taking care of somebody ahead of him. There are 10 million millennials like Jason caring for a loved one, the fastest growing group of caregivers nationally, people in their 20s. That's you. Almost 2 years ago, it was my turn to join the ranks of Jason to care for my father. And thanks to support from my managers, I was able to reduce my work to part-time as a news anchor. A Captain Obvious footnote about what I just said, by the way, asking to be on TV for less time when you want to be on TV is not the best thing to do. But that's what I had to do. It's like, to be a better optometrist, can I please examine fewer eyes? You'd never do that. But sometimes less career, less earning is more. A typical week right now for me, it goes like this. Monday, a 10-hour door-to-door trip from New York City to San Francisco. I help out with my parents. And then Friday, another 10-hour trip back to New York. I land into JFK, head straight to 30 Rock. I wear makeup for about 8 hours. Anchor Saturday and Sunday shows. Monday, repeat and rinse. And last year, I counted it up, I traveled 12 times around the world. This is familiar for many of you graduates today who've taken care of loved ones, no doubt, like graduate Samira Jam here in front, who flies to even India to care for her grandmother. Go get them, Samira. As for the major changes in my father's daily living, they are what I call, poop and eating stuff. In fact, my dad now poops in places he didn't before. He eats nonstop. He's known to streak a little even. No clothes. Serious. There are, as you can imagine, some lighter moments as a result of this. Here's my 83-year-old father, a pastor and former social worker. He loves everything I cook. He laughs at all my jokes now. He says Jesus says eating cookies makes you skinny. He tells me he loves me every 30 minutes. He hugs me every 30 minutes. Now, Richard, and sometimes without his pants on. And picture that for a moment, or don't. My father and I have had closer moments in these last couple years than I've ever seen before. Closer includes the tough stuff, too. I feel like I'm watching my father, I sometimes say, die in front of me, and that's why I describe it to my friends. And at times I experience a real depth of sadness like I've never felt before. But I remember who he taught me to be. And one of those moments was in elementary school. I told him I was being bullied. He sat me down and said, 2 options. You get beaten up or learn to defend yourself. And if you want to defend yourself, we'll enroll you in martial arts classes. Dad, that's not stereotypical. No, not at all. Okay. So began 5 years training with a Shaolin Temple Kung Fu monk. There I was. This monk was like Bruce Lee to me, I tell you. And after learning from him, I thought I was Bruce Lee. I was ready to fight. Come on. And people knew it, or at least that's the confidence I had. Bruce was bad, wasn't he? He was really bad. And nobody wanted to face a kid version of Bruce Lee. 4-foot, 10-inch version. Bruce Lee, freshly chiseled by a legit Shaolin Temple former Kung Fu monk. Though a little younger at the time, you could see me, I had the moves out and I was ready. People were scared of me. But that's what my father taught me how to do. He taught me to fight. And so today, as my father struggles, I am still that 9-year-old I'm ready to fight. It's my turn. It's why I'm a celebrity champion for the Alzheimer's Association and AARP, to fight for awareness and action to help family caring for those who need it. I'm also ready to fight for my father day to day. I can take him to buy a chocolate donut, to buy his favorite tuna fish sandwich. He can't do it alone anymore. He doesn't know how to use the words. And people push him, they've stolen from him, but now I'm here for him. I fight for him just as he fought for me when I was a child. Fighting for a child. That's what brought ICO grads Christy and Jeff Franks to start their nonprofit. They are fighting for their own son. Little Emmett Frank had soft, fair eyes and hair. His parents had the very opposite. Friendly little Emmett, he stood out for loving people if you knew him. But then at 16 months old, Emmett passed away in his sleep. No signs, no symptoms. Emmett was gone. It wasn't supposed to be that way. Christy and Jeff's heart and eyes, they bled and they bled. And then they decided they were going to do something to turn grief into gratitude and giving, to help others like them. They created a charity called Answers for Emmett, to fight for Emmett, who died of sudden unexplained death in childhood, SUDC. Christy and Jeff now want to raise $1 million, they told me this week, and fight for small ones at risk of Emmett's rare condition. Tomorrow, Sunday, May 21st, Emmett would have been 5 years old. ICO graduates of 2017, find out who and what you want to fight for. Then do it. Fight to care. Fight to make a difference. So many of you are so talented. We need your compassion. My fight, it comes from my mom's care of family, my grandfather's care of country, the Corning's care of service. It is what built this place, this great country of ours that we have and hold. And it's what you do now. You were trained at America's oldest, America's largest, America's most hit the ground running optometry school. You've been given the gift of being at the top. So take a second, relish this. But now begins a new chapter. Now it is your time. It is your turn. Thank you. Congratulations, graduates, class of 2017.